Good evening, my name is Troy Engel. I'd like to talk to you today about running wild. First of all, I'd like to start off with a story of my friend Danielle. If you look at the picture on the screen, Danielle is on the far left in the sunglasses and the ponytail. Danielle is an excellent runner, and in this particular picture, she is a member of the Fort Bragg 10 miler team up in Washington, D.C. They took first place in the female division. Now, as you can imagine, Danielle and her team put in a lot of miles and a lot of training to get ready for this particular race. And at Fort Bragg, there's quite a few resources available to them as runners in training. They have an Army Wellness Center, which allows them to get state-of-the-art VO2 max testing to make sure that to see how efficiently their body is working and using oxygen. They have professional nutrition counselors. They have their own personal dietitians. They have access to tracks and gyms and all these things to help them be the best runner possible. So you would think that they have everything that they need to be top runners. However, they really don't. They're missing something vital. Danielle realized this when she developed some lower leg pain and she couldn't run anymore. Her doctor recommended that she take some time off, which she did. She healed up and she started running again, only to have the injury re-inflame. So she went through this cycle of resting, going back to training, getting injured, and after going through this cycle a few times, her coach recommended that she go to a running store and get professionally fit for a pair of shoes. Now, Danielle never imagined that she had problems with her shoes because she spent quite a bit of money on the shoes that she had. Matter of fact, she had some of the best shoes that the market offered at that time. However, when she went to the running specialty store, they were able to analyze her gait and look at how she runs, fit her for a pair of shoes, and then analyze her gait again to make sure those shoes actually corrected the problems that she was having. And she realized that though the shoes she was wearing were excellent shoes, they were not shoes that were made for her and the way that she runs. And thus the problem that we find here in Fort Bragg area is the fact that we have until 2015 there was no dedicated specialty store. The closest store was over an hour and a half away up in Raleigh. Now, as you can see from some of the facts on the screen, Fort Bragg is home to airborne and special operations community. They're known for a great deal of running, especially in the special operations community. Some of these people are marathoners and ultra-marathoners. All soldiers in the Army are required to have a serviceable pair of running shoes. In my time in the Army, in my morning runs, I noticed that a great deal of these soldiers are not wearing shoes that are properly fit for them. And you can tell by the way that their ankles are rolling or their feet are rolling when they run. Causes a lot of problems in the foot, ankle, knees, the hips, and so on. Now, there is a specialty store as of March of 2015 in the area called the Runner Spot. However, there's still a problem with this specialty running store. Though they can fit people with the proper shoes, they have a very poor selection. Their selection is very, very small, and it's all geared toward very high-end running shoes and apparel, which also makes it very expensive, far above what most people are comfortable paying for running gear. Now, the mission and vision of Running Wild is to be the premier full-service running store in South Central North Carolina, offering a broad selection, competitive pricing, knowledgeable staff, and offering superior customer service. Now, the running industry is actually an amazing industry because what you'll find in the running industry is that it's been referred to by many professionals and many business analysts as the recession-proof sport. And the reason it has been named that is if you look at some of the worst years of the recent Great Recession from 2008 and 2009, you would see that marathon registrations actually increased by 10%. Marathon registrations, or half marathon registrations, increased by more than 24%. And the amazing thing is if you look at the past 26 years, marathon finishers have increased every year since 1990. With one exception, and that was in 2012 when Hurricane Sandy came through and actually caused the New York Marathon to be canceled, and that's significant because the New York Marathon tends to have about 55,000 runners. Popularity of different types of runs have increased significantly over the past few years. There's now a lot of mud runs, with the Tough Mudder being one of the most famous ones. There's obstacle runs like the Spartan races. There's color runs. There's light runs. There's all sorts of different runs to get people out and running. A lot of people are really catching on to the fact that running is taking off. Now, one of the difficult things in describing a target market with runners is that runners come from a wide variety of demographics. You can find runners in every socioeconomic group, every race, nationality, gender, and even the distances that they run vary widely 5Ks tend to be the most popular because they're the shorter ones and they're more fun for a lot of people, but still, there is a wide variety. If you really look at runners, the only thing you're going to find that runners have in common with each other is that they like to run. Now, you can break runners down into some groups, so there are some target marketing that we can do. High school and college running teams are a really good place to start because of their competitive nature. Many of these runners have lots of running clothes because they do a lot of running. They tend to have multiple pairs of running shoes, a competition pair, different competition pairs for different distances, different training shoes for different types of events. Military units. Here on Fort Bragg, the military is huge. Like I said, 55,000 plus active duty soldiers. All of them need a pair of running shoes, and I would say probably most of them are wearing the wrong running shoe for their particular gait. Fayetteville Running Club is a huge market to target. 1,800 active dues-paying members of the Fayetteville Running Club, and these people, their word of mouth advertising is very powerful, and so it's important to target them and get in with that group. Now, the marketing plan very much involves community involvement with groups such as the Fayetteville Running Club, the military, and some other events in the Fayetteville area. Race sponsorships are going to be very, very important in this group. Getting out, being part of the races, because at the race, everybody there is a potential customer. Every single person, the people watching the races, the people participating and running the races, the volunteers making the races happen, and even the organizations that organize the races. Now you can see there's a tent on there on the screen with some logos and some things. This is a very powerful marketing tool. In the Fayetteville area, very rarely do you actually see tents and advertising things like this to really get the name out. And so to have something like that is going to be extremely powerful. It's going to make a big impact. You can put your phone number on there, email address, website address, get your logo out there, and get out there and offer free samples of different types of gels, protein bars, nutrition. You can do running analysis for gait analysis to really help people decide what shoe they need to wear, talk to them about the shoes that they're currently wearing and what problems they may be having, and just get out there and really get the name out there by intermingling with your target audience in a very focused way. Obviously, there's going to be some other things like the radio kickoff. Running Wild is going to have an inaugural grand opening race. Should get a lot of people out, and it should really get the Running Wild name out there. A huge referral program offering 20% off for new customers and 10% off for existing customers who refer them in. And then the great thing about that referral program is in order to make sure that new customers aren't getting new customer bonuses multiple times, you need to take their name and some contact information. It's an easy way to pick up some marketing information for mailings and perhaps send out surveys to make sure that we're giving the customer exactly what they need. Now, the management team at Running Wild, you have myself, Troy Engel. You can see some of my background and experiences up on the screen, and then my brother, Mike. Both of us are runners, different levels, different experience levels of runners, and both of us have some experience in the business world, as you can see. Our advisory board, this is going to be a little bit different than a lot of retail stores in the specialty area, but to avoid the expense and some of the loss of profit from a franchise, and then to avoid a lot of the mistakes made by new businesses, I've adopted an advisory board, and these are some mentors that I've picked up in the course of researching for this. The big two you can see are Greg Baum and Gary Staines. Greg Baum has been in the industry for more than 35 years. He knows how to build a business from the ground up. He actually started selling running shoes out of the back of his station wagon when he was still a runner in college. Gary Staines is a British Olympic athlete. He is an elite runner. And for the last 12 years since he retired from running, he's the owner of Runner's Roost in Colorado, which is a 7-store chain. He has an immense amount of experience, and their advice will be invaluable to start up. Now, their advice does come with a price, of course. An hourly fee has been negotiated with them to help us get off the ground, but to also compensate them for their time. I've talked a little bit about the Running Spot, the local running specialty store, about their lack of selection and their high prices. Really, the most dangerous competitor that Running Wild is going to face is an online retailer by the name of Running Warehouse. Running Warehouse is a specialty site that only sells running gear, running clothes, running nutrition, running accessories. Now they have powerful pricing and competitive pricing situation because they buy in such bulk. However, many specialty dealers such as Brooks Sports, Ultra Running Shoes, Newton, some of the really high-end or very specific running organizations, you have to sign a contract with them that you're going to sell at MSRP. So it doesn't matter how big a store you are, how big a online presence you have. Everybody, you're going to pay the same price for Brooks shoes no matter where you go, whether it's the mom and pop shop or someplace in the mall that has a national chain like Foot Locker, for example. They protect them. 60 to 70% of their sales actually come from mom and pop retail stores like Running Wild. The place where Running Wild really has the advantage, even over Running Warehouse, is in the staff expertise and then in our community involvement in the running community. That we just can't be beat there, and that's really where our core customers are going to come from, and that is really how we're going to shine and stand out. Now we have our strengths, we have some opportunities, the things I really want to focus on, the things where we can make the greatest progress is in our weaknesses and the threats against us. Large online retailers are a threat, as you can see at the bottom right hand corner, because of some of that pricing with brands like Nike, Adidas, and ASICS. We just can't beat their prices, and so what we do is we build relationships with local running community members, and we make sure that our customer service is top of the line so that they're still going to come to us for advice, they're still going to come to us for good fittings, because that's what we can do better than anybody else. If you take a look at some financial analysis, first of all, Running Wild owners are going to have $75,000 in cash to invest to get this started up. And then an industry standard that may be a little bit unique to the running industry is the revolving line of credit that vendors will offer independent retailers like Running Wild. We'll open up a revolving line of credit up to $120,000 with a variety of different vendors. As soon as we sell and make the money that we need to, we pay them back, and then of course order more inventory to make sure our inventory stays stocked. So that's $195,000 that Running Wild will be able to come up with on our own. We still need $162,885, which at this point will either come from bank financing or outside investments. Now, we expect the first 6 to 8 months to grow very rapidly because of the focus on the radio campaign, race sponsorships, and then, of course, word of mouth, working with the Fayetteville Running Club, working with some of the military units to get in there and brief them on running safety and how to properly find shoes, and really getting out in the community. So we're looking at a pretty rapid growth rate for the first 6 to 8 months, maybe the first year. Beyond that first 6 to 8 months and into year 2, we're expected to slow down and maybe look at more 4 to 5% growth, hopefully breaking even right around the 3-year mark. What Running Wild is asking for right now is we're asking for $162,885 from an outside investor. We're estimating that the store's equity at grand opening will be the $357,000 that you see on the screen there, and an investor can invest all the way up to that $162,800 and purchase up to 45.5% ownership in the company. Obviously, smaller investments will get you a smaller percentage of ownership, and we'll get the rest from bank financing. So that is the offer and the background on Running Wild. We look very much forward to receiving your feedback, and you have a great day.